Hello there, welcome to the channel everybody, welcome back if you've been here before, welcome if you're new, and welcome all to a new series on the channel, Build with Beans. Now this series is inspired by a bunch of builders that I quite like. It's heavily inspired by Crying Cube and her style of building up a settlement. It's also inspired by Flateska and the way he's built up his Abernathy farm settlement. And then it's also inspired by builders like Great Grandpa Gaming and the way he did projects on his Starlight when it all came together in the end, and the way that Detour does those sort of things as well, where he sort of builds up little bits over time and then you see it all come together. So it's just going to be an episodic series where in each episode I build up a different element of the settlement and it comes together at the end. It's going to differ from the Beans builds in the sense that they're often more of an idea rather than a finished project most of the time. And just before I close out that intro, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody for all the support on the channel as ever. It's been really nice seeing all the comments and, seeing everybody watching all the videos lately. I'm glad you're all still enjoying it. I'm still enjoying making these things and I hope you enjoy this new series. With Sanctuary Hills built up and Red Rocket scaled down, the Minutemen under General Beans pushed forward into the wasteland, finding a new place to secure a forward operating base. That place is Starlight Drive-In. Here, we'll help the Minutemen build up and expand into the wasteland by building Forward Operating Base Twinkle. With a bright future ahead of the Minutemen, FOB Twinkle's the perfect place to launch forth into the deep. Okay, so we're in workshop mode, and the first thing we're going to be building at FOB Twinkle is the Gatehouse. Now, my initial plans are to build in and around the projector house, and then build a small wall around it and use it as a perimeter, with access from the road being the main access, given that we will be ranging outwards into the Commonwealth. Now I would like to keep this gate as you can't build these, but I only want one of them, so I'm going to scrap this one here, and I would like a tower either side, so we can then come through this gate and have a secondary gate acting as some sort of airlock system. And I would like to connect these two towers with a walkway above this gate, so the first thing I want to do, because I'm going to build them together and connect them, is measure how far it is from here and to this side. Perfect 3. Excellent, so we'll keep that number in mind when we come to it, and let's get building. I've kind of got an idea for something I want to do for the guard tower. It's semi-inspired by Great Grandpa's Gamer's ball track stuff that he did here with like ball track supports. That video really got me thinking in some interesting ways. It's a really good video. I've mentioned it before, but I will drop it in the comments again, the description. So I'm going to go into the wood walls, and I'm going to get these wood walls out to start off with, and then I'm going to get a shack floor, but I want to get one of the shack upper floors, these thick boys, and I'm just going to close it off with these wood walls again, the metal ones. And that's fine as it is right now. I don't need a floor. I'm going to sink that in a little bit. And then we'll move it along because I want this one to be the right hand side. So what I'm going to do is just shift it over here, just to work on it. And I'm going to start off by going over to the warehouse. And I'm going to get a door so I can connect it with the other one. Let's go with that one. And then I'm going to pop on a couple of warehouse walls, I think. Yeah, happy with that. And then I'm going to go back to the wooden walls because I want to put some of these shack balconies on. And I want this one specifically. Any open one really, where you can see through it. Because what I'm going to do is move that for one, and then I'm going to put some stairs on. Just pop them there for now, but I might change them later. Let's plug these sides up. and then I want to get one of the wooden defence posts in there. And they fit in sort of on their own. You don't really need to do much with them. They're very forgiving working in these shack balconies. And moreover, when it's nuzzled up to the front, you get this nice little bit of barbed wire coming on through. Now, it does look a little bit goofy, but we're going to get round to that in a little bit, so it's not so floaty float. But I want a roof on here. I'm in the warehouse roof, and I just want one of these ones. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Now obviously we've got this gap up here, but never fear, because I believe we'll be able to cover this up either with some paintings. Let's have a look. What's this looking like? Yeah, not really. Let's give it a go with the flag. Ooh, much better. I actually quite like that. I don't mind those gaps around the side. Yeah, looks alright, eh, from the outside. Alright, so with the Radstorm past, we're going to move on and build the next one. Now, ideally, I want the little bridge that spans between the two guard towers to be from this doorway in the middle, but it is quite hard. Not impossible, but it's very difficult to make sure it's straight, as in snap to straight if you're pillar glitching it up there. So what I'm going to do to start off with is just make a 3 across one, just with these that do snap, so then when I add my guard tower on this side, the left side tower, I can be assured that it's all the exact same proportions away and it's the exact same alignment as this one. And then later what we'll do is build a 3-foot bridge and we'll pillar glitch it in there. So I'm just going to go ahead now, build another one, replicate it pretty much like for like on this side, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so we've got our 2 near identical guard towers that are going to form up the main part of our checkpoint, our entryway into FOB Twinkle. Now I just need to connect them, so what I've done is got these 3 individual floor pieces. And I've got my trusty old Schiller, and I think the best way to attack it's probably going to be from going in here, I think. Sort of connecting it this way maybe. Yeah, that's looking sort of right. Now we've already measured it, we know it's 3, made to snap floor spaces. I just struggle with the depth. I struggle with the words depth perception, let alone the bloody concept. Let's see, it seems to be coming off there. I think there. Oh, very nice. Okay, so with that in there, I'm going to pop some of these wooden railings on, I think. Now, I'd like to give it some sort of support. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm figuring this out as I go along. No dry run on this one. So what we're going to do next, once we've got these railings on, is I'm going to take my Schiller and I'm going to shift the whole thing over there so it sits on the gate. Give it a quick save first, because if it goes wrong... But I suppose it wouldn't matter too much, seeing as there's not much going on there. And there go my settlers who were on guard duty. This is going to be awkward to play around with, I think. But let's see. Alright, so I'm very happy with the placement of that, but I'd like this bridge to have a little bit of support. Now I'd originally planned on some ball track supports, but I don't want to just have them on the inside, as it would look a bit strange, and I don't want them there because that's where the gate opens. Likewise, I think it kind of excludes barn posts down the middle. So I'm going to go with, I'm going to do like some sort of conduit type suspension bridge. And I'm going to do that with some of these powered speakers from the miscellaneous tab on the power. I think, yeah, these ones. And some conduits on the roofs of the watchtowers. So, I want to face these out. Just get them as close to that as I can, and then as close to the middle as possible. Yeah, and then I'm going to get some connectors, some of these big chunky ones, and I'm going to line them up sort of where, yeah, there on the roof. And then let's see what they look like. Yeah, I think that'll look good. Let's pop some on the other side and see how it looks fully done. I quite like that. I'm happy with that. I think maybe a couple more to give it a bit more anchorage. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. A little bit of a mess of wires, but I quite like it. It looks a lot better all connected up, I think. And it definitely looks like it's being held up. What do you guys think? Okay, so as I mentioned earlier on, I kind of want like an airlock system between that gate and another gate. So I'm thinking that I want to use these barn bits. So I'm going to see how these measure up, because I like those big white barn doors. And I'd like them to be like my inner gate. Oh, didn't realise that was so close. That does work quite nicely. Let's get these big doors in then. Excellent, just what I want. So just one more thing that I need to really do, and that's sort out the fronts, so we're not floating. And as I mentioned, I'm going to use Great Grandpa's bowl track method. So I'm going to go with this one first. And I'm just going to go over to the bowl tracks. I'm just going to sort of freehand it to see. I mean, that kind of fits pretty perfectly, to be honest. So I'm just going to... I'm going to start with 2, see if I want a third one in the middle. But I'm going to go over to the miscellaneous and get me a couple of these out to pop on. And then I'm just going to group select it using the supports. Very nice and flush. I'm happy with that. We'll get the other one on. A bit more daylight. I'm pretty happy with how that looks, but I'd like to do a little bit more with it. So I'm thinking I'd like a turret in there. Just happy with one of these little basic machine gun ones. Yeah, I think that looks alright in there. I'm thinking maybe some sort of lighting. I think, yeah, maybe this track lighting. It won't have any power as of yet, but it will do shortly. And I think I'm just going to wire, not wire, but cage it in with some conduit maybe. Just measure it up, see what it sort of looks like, how it's going to fill in. Yeah, I think that'll look alright in there. Let's go get our chiller. Oh, I think we'll need a couple little bits on the end. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. I think we can throw up a few more layers. Whenever I'm layering up conduit, what I tend to do is make the same shape with the chiller and then line it up so it's perfectly disappearing within itself. So that way you know it's perfectly aligned to where it is. And then I just use the up-down command function with the controls to slide it up. And then it's pretty much in the exact same place, just at a different height. Alright then, I think that looks pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with that. It looks a bit like one of the cope cages you see on tanks to cope with drones. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm pleased with that. So next, I'm just going to do it on this side. Alrighty then, so that's this side done. And as you can see, the lights are on because we've got this power pylon up here, but no lights here. So I've built some staircases. We're going to pop on a couple of conduits. We're going to link it all up, and that'll give the light down there some power. So this conduit is Wi-Fi glitched to the fusion generator in the settlement. It's also what powers the power pylon over there, but everything else is hardwired. So now, yep, our lights are on. Alright then, with night settling in, we'll go take a look around our little guard tower checkpoint. I'm very pleased with how the gate and the double doors have turned out. It'll look quite nice when it's all done. And I like the way the barn door, it sort of closes this off a little bit. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with these areas yet. I was thinking maybe storage in one and a backup generator in the other, but let me know what you do with them. And like I say, I've not done the decorating, I've just made the shell. My method, the way I tend to work, is shell and then the fixtures, furniture and equipment, and then sort of junk decorating. But yeah, I'm pleased with how it's looking, and I hope you've all enjoyed the video. Like I say, if you've got any suggestions for what to put in underneath either of the towers, you just let me know. But that's all for now. Thank you all so much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed this, and I do hope you keep watching and enjoy this new series we've got coming up on the channel. I'll be back next week with the Beans builds, and maybe after that we'll be back with another one of these, but we'll see. So until then, take care yourselves, take care of each other. I hope you all have a lovely week, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Ta-ra!